Dear brother and sister, the saints in Christ, welcome to a new episode. This is our second and the last episode regarding the Apocrypha Books, the Annex of Daniel. This is the second and the last one of Daniel, but the series is not finished yet. In the previous episode, which was the part 1, we explained two things, or we tackled two things. Number one was the prayer of the three young men that was inserted in chapter 3, and we found actually this prayer was, they admitted it was not in the Hebrew copy of the Book of Daniel. Also, we tackled chapter 13, which you found a very silly, a childish story, that if you get like a group of people of grade like 4, 5, and 6, like even like 10 people of this mix, and you ask them like to make such a story, they will do a better story than this one. And also we've seen that last verse 65 is a big problem, which says, and the king Astros joined his fathers, and Cyrus the Persian took his kingdom, and this took place in year 539 before Christ. And we saw that Father Antonius Fikri, the Coptic Orthodox man, he said actually this particular verse should be like the introduction for the whole thing. And actually this is what the Catholic did. They have taken this verse from chapter 13 and put it as the first verse of chapter 14. And also Father Antonius Fikri assured that the following, which we'll study today, the following events took place after Cyrus took over and reigned as a king. Today we will cover now the last chapter of the Annex, chapter 14, where actually we'll see three mysterious, I would say, legends, but one of them is a knockout, the last one. So what this chapter actually contains of the first thing is Daniel and the priests of Baal. The story says in chapter 14 that there was a god in Babylon named Baal, and people was like, and even including the king, were worshipping him. Then the king asked Daniel, why don't you worship this? He said, no, I don't worship this one because he is just like a statue, and he is not God at all. Then the king told him, no, actually he eats, and it says in the Annex, it says that this Baal, the 70 priests of Baal used to feed him or prepare the following amount of food for him daily. What is this amount? It says, number 1, 12 erdebs of fine wheat. This is the first problem. Why? Because you cannot find the word erdeb at the time for measuring the grains. In the Old Testament, all the measures of the grains were whatever called Seah, S-E-A-H. You will find this in the Old Testament in the standard proper book. So this means the word erdeb was not at that time. So definitely this annex was added later on. Anyway, they gave him how much? 12 erdebs. How much is the 12 erdebs in kilos? Now, so to imagine it, according to the internet, erdeb of wheat is 150 kilos. So 12 times 150 kilos, this will give you what? 1.8 tons, which is 1,800 kilos. Can you imagine now the Baal will eat 1,800 kilos of fine wheat a day, plus 40 sheep, plus 6 meters of wine. What 6 meters of wine? One meter is 1,000 liters. So 6 meters of wine means 6,000 liters of wine. All right, can you believe this? There is a bishop named Amba Bakir. We will listen to him today as well, or watch him. He tried like to make it like acceptable. He said, it's a 6 letters. No, he is lying. And you know, even like in the monastery, they know that there is like the vehicle that carries water. They know that the measurement of water is by meter, and 1 meter means 1,000 liters. So he knows very well, but he found it doesn't make sense, and absolutely the whole story doesn't make sense. So anyway, so the king told Daniel, no, he is a real god and he eats and all that stuff. Then Daniel said, no, definitely he doesn't eat and doesn't smell, nothing. He is not a living being at all. He's just a statue of clay and brass. Then the king spoke to the priest, and he said, no, of course Baal eats them. All right, and he told him, in fact, you come tonight, prepare the food for him, then lock the doors yourself, seal them where you seal, and in the morning you'll see that nothing left over. And in the chapter, in the annex, it says that those 70 priests used to go every evening with their families, wives and everyone, and they go through like a hidden tunnel, goes into the temple, and every single day they eat all these. This doesn't make any sense for the following. I'll assume that those 70 priests, together with their wives and kids, so how many? Like husband, wife, and the 8 kids? 8 kids. So like all 10 by 70, 700? No. I'll make it 1,000 people. Make it 1,000 people. Do you reckon those people, first of all, in order to cook, how many? 40 lambs or 40 sheep. How long that you will need like to slaughter them and prepare them? And to organize every single day 1,800 kilos of fine wheat. All this, by the way, in the temple. And 6 meters of wine and all to be consumed. Now you'd like to convince me that those people every single day they eat all this stuff? Of course not. Anyway, they prepared this. The king came together with Daniel. They prepared the thing. We're going now to close. Daniel said to the king, no, don't close now. But he got some ashes, like whatever left over of after fire, and they just spread them over the floor of the temple. And then everything was sealed, everything is all right, and they gone. And in the morning, the king said, oh, let's go and find out now what's happening. So he, together, the priest and the king and Daniel, they opened, and then Daniel said to the king, don't go in. Can you see anything on the floor? And the king said, oh yes, I can see the footprints of men, women, and the kids. This is another lie. If you assume that there is 1,000 people, I'm putting the 1,000 so they can consume this amount of food. Do you reckon if you have 1,000 people in the church and you put something, you will be able to identify the footprint of the men from the women, from the kids? You fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. So what happened when the king found like this is the situation like that, and he put a pressure on the priests, so they admitted and they showed him like the secret tunnel they go through, and then eventually he killed all the priests, and Daniel destroyed the statue of Baal and also destroyed the temple. This is what the story says. Of course, the story doesn't make any sense at all. Obviously, it is a lie. Next one. The next one, the dragon. Again, Daniel and the dragon. First of all, what is a dragon? Go and search on the internet. It's a fiction animal. And even there is no one shape That's why I'll put a few different photos for you. But you go to internet, because it is not a real thing. So some people say, oh, it's a huge big one, and actually it breathes fire. And some people, no, not breathing fire. He have got wings, huge wings, and a tail that is full of thorns. And some doesn't have this. And so it's a fiction one. And still people believe in this. Anyway, then the king, after the story of Baal, he said, now this one is a living being. The other one was not, but this one definitely is a living being, and it's worthwhile to worship him. Daniel again, he said, no, I will not worship him, and actually he's not a god. Just give me the permission and I will kill him. Then the king said, okay, I give the permission to kill him. And even Daniel said, I'll kill him, don't give me a sword, anything like that. Didn't mention that he will get help from God or anything like that. But he said, hey, he got some, listen to this, some asphalt. You know the asphalt? That is like the highways and the roads now we drive on, you spread them there. And some hair, that's okay. And some, it says, and some fats, could be any sort of fats. And it says he got all those three elements. He cooked them and put them like loaves, all right. And he put them in the mouth of the dragon. And I believe the dragon was very peaceful, and was thanking him very much and telling, oh, thank you very much, it is really a good meal for me today. They reckon with the description of a dragon, a human could come close to him. Anyway, the fiction story, chapter 14, says once he put this and the dragon ate them, you know what happened? Wow, the dragon was split in two. Wow, what a miracle, what a fiction story. But the story in chapter 14 goes on and says, now the people of Babylon were very much angry with the king, and they thought he is now embracing Judaism as his religion. And then they said, now you left Daniel, now he destroyed the Baal, and now he is even has killed the dragon, so deliver him to us, otherwise we'll kill you. Of course people can't do at that time, even if you try to do this to a president or a king, he will kill you before you just you have one word, to be impolite to him. Anyway, so what actually happens is the king delivered them to him. So the story said that they took Daniel, wow, and they put him in a den of lions. I would put here something, this would be the second time, by the way. A person named Einstein, he said it is foolish to repeat the same experiment with the same data and expect different results. Those people have seen Daniel was put in a lion's den before and nothing happened to him. Anyway, so they said there was a den, 7 lions not eating for a few days, and they dropped Daniel into this, and they decided to leave him for 6 days. Why leave him for 6 days? One lion that is hungry, and they drop a man for him, 10 minutes, all gone. But why give him for 6 days? All right? It's all junk. Anyway, this is now the second point. Now I go to inside it. There is a third point. What is the third point? The third point says, at that time when Daniel was in the den, lion's den, Habakkuk, the prophet, was in the land of Judah, while Daniel was in the land of Babylon. Then at that time, Habakkuk was preparing some food for those who are doing some sort of harvesting, to take it to them. But the angel of the Lord appeared to Habakkuk and told him, this food, you take it to Babylon and give it to Daniel in the lion's den. By the way, it's a huge big distance anyway, so it doesn't make sense like to take it there. Anyway, Habakkuk said to the angel, I've never been to Babylon, I don't know the way. Then the story says that the angel just lifted Habakkuk from his hair or whatever, and he took him and put him at the lion's den, but of course not in the lion's den. Then Habakkuk, obviously from outside, called to Daniel, come and take, I don't know how we will give him the food, but anyway, come and there is some food the Lord has sent me to give to you. Then Daniel thanked the Lord that he did not forget him, like hungry in the lion's den. And Daniel ate. We don't know how he delivered the food, but doesn't matter. Ate, and the angel took Habakkuk and he put him back to the land of Judah, which is like Israel or Palestine, you would like to call it. I would love now to listen to what I said from the mouth of the bishop named Apocrypha, and I come back again. So watch this and come back again.
افترس دانيال، بس دانيال لما نزل ما حدش مسه زي المره اللي فاتت. وكان حبقوق النبي في ارض يهوذا، طبعا دانيال دلوقتي في ارض بابل. حبقوق في ارض يهوذا ودانيال في بابل في العراق. وكان حبقوق قد طبخ طبيخا وسرد خبزا في جفنه، والراجل بيعمل اكله وياكلها، فربنا قال له لا دي توديها لدانيال. وانطلق إلى الصحراء ليحمله الحصادين، يعني زي ما تكون الأجرة كده. فقال ملاك الرب لحبقوق احمل الغدا اللي معك لبابل إلى دانيال في جب الأسود. الله لا يترك أتقياء أبدا عايزين ياكلوا، كأنه مشكلته يعني إنه مش إنه خايف من الأسود، إنه بس عايز ياكل. ربنا عال الشعب في البرية 40 سنة. فقال ملاك الرب لحبقوق احمل الغدا اللي معك إلى بابل إلى دانيال في جب الأسود. فقال حبقوق أيها السيد إني لم أرى بابل قط. ملاك الرب قال لدانيال ودي الأكل. قال له يا سيد أنا ما أعرفش العراق دي فين، ما أعرفش يروحوها منين. فأخذ ملاك الرب بجمته وحمله بشعر رأسه، شاله بحاله كده ووضعه في بابل عند الجب باندفاع روحه. فنادى حبقوق قائلا يا دانيال خذ الغزل الذي أرسله الله لك. فقال دانيال اللهم لقد ذكرتني ولم تخذل الذين يحبونك. وقام دانيال ورد ملاك الرب حبقوق إلى موضعه.
Alright, before I comment on this, I have an episode named The Contradiction of the Father in the Authority of Binding and Loosening, and I brought Anba Abakir there because Anba Abakir has a story that he read in the in the writings of the fathers, some fiction stuff of course, that if any one of the clergy bound someone, Jesus himself cannot loosen him, which is definitely is blasphemous words against the Lord himself. This is I put this there. Now, what Anba Abakir said, now he is mentioning what I've mentioned, if you would understand it, like joyfully, and he thinks it's like a great story and a great miracle, and the Lord took care of Daniel in his second throw into the lion's den for 6 days, and he's happy with that. Like he's very proud of the story. Have you got anything to think about? At least I would ask, was Habakkuk at the time of that story or not? Okay, so now let's watch the famous priest talking about the book of Habakkuk. Habakkuk is a prophet, one of the minor prophets, and we'll see what dates he was alive and prophesying. Then we match it or compare it to the time of this event, and we'll see whether he was there or not. So let's watch Father Daoud Lamei and come back again.
حبقوق واحد من الأنبياء الصغار، ويعتقد إنه من سبط لاوي، لأنه ثالث إصحاح عبارة عن مزمور أو أقرب إلى كونه مزمور من المزامير. فيعتقد أن حبقوق ده من سبط لاوي، السبط المختص بالعبادة والتسبيح، فكانوا بيتعلموا موسيقى بتاعة التراتيل يعني، وكان كتير منهم بيعمل مزامير أو بيكتب ويلحن مزامير. فالاعتقاد السائد أن حبقوق غالبا من سبط لاوي. ومكتوب التاريخ هنا غالبا نبوءته كانت في الفترة ما بين 612 قبل الميلاد ل 589 قبل الميلاد. حبقوق.
So Father Daoud Lamei said that Habakkuk is one of the minor prophets, and his mission was between, listen to this, year 612 before Christ up to year 589 before Christ. All right? 612 up to 589 before Christ. You know, before Christ, the more like you come closer, the number goes down. Like year 10 before Christ comes before year 1 before Christ. All right. So back again now. So Habakkuk started his mission 612 and he finished it 589. He finished his mission and finished his work, and he passed away 589. But Koresh became the king 539. So the difference between 589 and 539 is how much? 50 years. 50. Wow! So Cyrus was the king 539, and after that Daniel passed away. Some people said 536, some people said 530. This means the story of the Baal and all that stuff happened any time between 539 and say 530. Okay, makes sense? So, but in fact, Habakkuk passed away 50 years before Cyrus became the king. And if you say the story happened like a few years after that, so this means what? This story happened at least about 50 to 55 years after Habakkuk passed away. Did you see how accredited the story is? Did you see how they are very proud of the story? And you think, oh, this is what happened. The Lord took care of of Daniel in his second lion's den issue, and he sent him Habakkuk from Judah in order to give him food because he was hungry. Dear brother and sister, what would you do with this amount of lies, mountains of lies? Will you continue? I assure you, majority will. Now they are addicted to hear and say lies, and religious lies, by the way. They love this. They cannot live without it. They breathing lies. If they stop lying, they stop breathing, they die. What's your plan? Will you continue this way? They cheating you. You happy with that? Continue and go on, and maybe one day you'll be one of them, like to be a priest or whatever, or a bishop, and you continue the lie. Otherwise the church will collapse when it is exposed to that. And by the way, after that says, on the seventh day the king went to Daniel, and he found him alive, and he just brought him out. All right, but I repeat very quickly. Would you believe them anymore after that? Can you see the bishop saying it joyfully, and he never thought to match with the Habakkuk. What was his time, and compare it with this. They don't study the Bible and just rely on all these rubbish, all these fiction stories, and they're proud of it, and just broadcast it, and now people, wow, they are very happy with that. Dear brother and sister, we definitely pray and fast for you, by the way, that you know the truth, but not only to know the truth, but also you go where the truth will take you. It's your decision. Would you like to continue in such an organization that from top to bottom is totally built on lies and fiction stories? Anyway, if you haven't subscribe to the channel, please do. Give a like to the video if you think it's worth it. Share it with others. They might know the truth and they come to Christ. And instead of being like going astray with those clergy people and their fiction stories and their lies, even in the Bible, they don't know the Bible. And unless the Lord comes, we'll meet again another episode. May the Lord bless you all. سلام المسيح معكم.